all 9 Star Wars films. Please give it up. He's C-3PO's Anthony Daniels.
Good evening, Portland. I'll say that again. Good evening, Portland. How nice to almost see you here in the twilight. Somebody told me there was a cocktail here.
Yes.
Where? It's waiting for. Have you all got one?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in a gold mug. I can see it. Right. Where? Let me stand here, and then you can almost see. Look at that. You can always tell actors they find their light. Do you know what I mean? It's almost good. Right. Good evening. I'm here for the first time in, is it 9 years? Christine, where are you? When we were last here? We were here in 2009. You do the math. I was younger then. We had pictures to prove it. I'm not showing you. But we came here to do Star Wars in concert. Truly one of the greatest experiences, I hope for the audience, but certainly for me. Narrating 9 Star Wars movies at that point. Wait a minute. None of this is rehearsed, so forgive me. Narrating the story of Star Wars as it was then, before the prequels, of course, because I went on to do another 3 movies after that. This is a job, a gift that keeps on giving, not only to the audience, but to me, because without C-3PO, I would have had to go out and get a real job. And pretty much I never needed to, because 3PO has kept me busy and wonderfully entertained and injured and hurt and frustrated and angry and all these things for, you do the maths, about 45, 46 years. Because I first met George Lucas in 1975. Many of you weren't born, isn't that weird? And of course, famously, I didn't, does anybody have a question? Maybe we'll come on to that. But many of you, of course, will have all your questions answered because you will have read the seminal book of the century. And I just happen to have a coffee here. Here we go. This is a book which will answer all your questions. It is I Am C-3PO, the inside story. Isn't that good? Real cheap trick here. Yes, it's available on Amazon and all good bookshops. But I ended up writing this during the filming of episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, because I had lots of time on the set, and over 2 years before that, and so on. And it tells most of the stories of, particularly beginning with refusing to meet George Lucas, because why would I, a serious actor, Shakespeare and stuff like that, well-written prose, even iambic pentameters, and language that was serene and beautiful and elegant. And then I met George Lucas for the part in Star Wars, where nobody ever accused the script of being eloquent, but that was later. Because I was very snobby and thought that playing a robot was not worth the 3 years I just spent at drama school. So I said no, and my agent said, don't be so stupid, go and meet him. I walked in, and in this book is a painting, a copy of a painting that changed my life. The artistic interpretation of what 3PO might look like, the concept painting. And I tell the story in the book, and you don't now have to buy it because I'm telling you this story. I looked at that painting, and I don't know if you ever go to art galleries and you see endless paintings, and you don't always connect. I mean, I've been to the Louvre in Paris, and I've seen the Mona Lisa. It's crap. I mean, it didn't speak to me at all, whereas this picture of 3PO did. And it changed my life, and it's brought me to Portland here today. And I feel blessed, because in spite of all the horrors of playing this character physically and to some extent emotionally, I'm very fond of him. And I feel that many audiences are too, and that makes me feel good. And what also makes me feel good, when I come to something like Fan Expo, first of all, it takes me kind of around the world in events like this. So I get to go to interesting places. But one of the things I realized when I finally read my finished book, and I read it all in one go, I wrote every single word of it. But how often did I found I'd spoken about the fans, the people who go to see the film, who pay to go to see the films, who connect with them, who enjoy them and keep it all going. Because without them, there would have only been one film, because there was no thought that it was going to be a success. We all thought it was rubbish. Carrie and Mark and Harrison and me. We said the lines which were not poetic at all. But somehow George Lucas and some kind of space magic happened, and here we are. 9 films in the sagas, these trilogies, and then 2 others. Rogue One, which I adored being in. It's a rather peculiar film called, what was it called, Saga?
The Clone Wars.
No, Clone Wars are fine.
Yeah.
Because when George eventually did agree or decide to keep my voice, because you have to imagine with my head inside this costume, you can't really hear what I'm saying. So all the words have to be put back on afterwards. And fortunately, because he did use my voice, I had done, I would say, hundreds of different projects, not just the movies, but always keeping 3PO in the right spirit, looking after him. I'm his spokesperson here on this planet. So if I'm involved, then you get the real thing. And 3PO for me is sort of a real thing. He's not me, he's somebody I know very well. I don't want to spend all my time with him, I will tell you that. But when I do, I feel pretty proud about it. And coming to a convention like this, to Fan Expo, allows people to meet somebody from the movie that the sagas that they connected with. I'm just if you like, a spokesperson for the evening, for the event. But it is amazing the emotion that comes out of various fans when they finally meet the first voice that they heard in those movies all those years ago, 40-something years ago. And it brings back a flood of memories, some good, some sad and poignant when family members are no longer there. But for many people, Star Wars has been this extraordinary thread, a timeline within their own family. And I key these emotions out of them, and sometimes it's quite difficult. But the fondness, the joy that people get out of these movies, the extension of it to people, okay, they buy all the products and so on, but they dress up, they meet people, they make friends, they sometimes marry. Sometimes, Darth Vader's doing the ceremony, they get so carried away with it all. But it means so much. And it was all triggered by the timing when it came out in 1977, that the world was a different place. The world didn't know that it wanted this kind of new magic technology. But George Lucas changed all that. He ushered in the films we now see with all their technology. They may or may not have the same magic, but the impact on people, adults in those days who took their children, and those children now are, in their 50s. And each time, each new film has spawned a new audience, and there's something in every one of them for everybody who loves them. Some people love the dark side, some people like the good, clean living characters. People like Darth Vader. People like Jar Jar Binks. If you were 10 when you saw episode 1, you adore Jar Jar Binks. If you were around 40 or 50, as I was when I saw it, not so much. But seriously, people now go and revisit as they get older, and they say, yeah, I remember this, it was all so good. You will never, of course, realize my favorite character, because apart from 3PO, who's the ultimate good, I love Darth Maul. They're totally evil. No quarter given. He just goes around, killing people. Shouldn't say that. But a wonderful performance by Ray Park, and not only his performance, the makeup, the costume. Trisha Bigger's wonderful sort of frock that she made for him. That when he did all his own stunts. To see that costume whirl about, and then John Williams' music. And in my book, did I say I've written? Oh, yeah, I've written a book. When I'm putting my voice on these movies, you have to realize, and in 1976, there I was, watching myself on screen in Hollywood, literally, in a dubbing studio, watching the scenes go by over and over again. It's called looping in those days. 35mm loops of a scene that would go round and round. You had 3 goes to get it right, and then you had to wipe the whole thing and start again. Now we have ADR, automatic dialogue replacement, where you could go on forever. And with J.J. Abrams as the last director I worked with, we did go on forever. He loves to repeat things until he thinks it's right. I love working with him. But when I saw myself on screen, it was curious, but it was also really boring, because there were just my lines in the desert. Wait a minute, where are you going? As the 2 robots kind of, argued and so on. And then Georgia put in a temporary track of music, and the scene came alive. And I tell you, without John Williams' music, without his score, without his character theme, his leitmotif for Ray Park's character, it would have been lacking. And I say that to say that sometimes you will have seen films of films. Sometimes I could be alone in front of the camera or just with one character, and I'm looking behind the character at maybe 200 crew members who you will never see. You'll see their names roll by quickly, so their mothers can go, oh, look, it's gone. But I'm a figurehead this evening for all the people that you never do see. And it's a combination. I talked about costume and makeup and character and the actor. And you have to think that for all the characters. And some of my favorites, of course, are the really weird characters that scuttle about and whatever. And often they will be puppeteered by a puppeteer who knows enough to get a character out of rubber and plastic and fabric and so on. So I am here to say, without being bidden to say, thank you from all the cast members and all the crew members over the years to whom you have given work. And the film industry is really a patron of the arts. It keeps so many industries going, whether you can imagine what it is. Does anybody, because I need a drink.
Yes, we're going to do, Anthony, we're going to actually bring you over for some questions from our media guests.
Right.
But let's do a quick toast to everybody. Yeah, grab your drink there.
Yeah.
All right, to our favorite droid, let's do a big cheers for Mr. Anthony Daniels.